Raja is jumping straight to it. Your song is like
Yeah.
superb. Please tell us about the dance song and like what was going on in your mind. I mean, it's a catchy song in terms of like video as well as music.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we just wanted to show. This is the third song that we ever put out. Uh, First song being Mustafa, and then there was another song called Mad Blessings last year, and this song is the dance song, and I made it with Zeke. We've been working together for like 3 years now. He goes by the name Flight School,
Okay.
and he's a producer here, and we've been creating stuff from Puri Gang to Mustafa all the way till now. And this particular project is very interesting because we wanted to make something that was new and refreshing and didn't sound anything like what is current right now.
Okay.
And while we approach a sound like that, we also wanted to show people how much fun we have while creating the song or the video. We have a lot of fun. Like me, Zeke, and my boys Jasper, who shot the video, and Faris, who's also part of my team. Like, we are such good friends, and the chemistry is so like it is so amazing that it doesn't feel like work. So every time we try to do work, the work ends up being super enjoyable.
Sure.
So whether is it recording a song, whether is it shooting the video, it turns out to be enjoyable 100% of the time. And we wanted to show people a glimpse of that in the dance song. That's why the video is like so crazy and so many colors. We took that vibe to a whole new height, you know.
Okay. So when did you start recording and shooting the video?
We recorded this song at the beginning of this year, and it was still a pretty rough demo at that time, and we were really thinking of like the release dates and all. But when we were planning for the release of the song, that's when the pandemic hit. It hit pretty hard, so we had to put a pause button and like just reassess and restructure everything before we could think about releasing songs, right? So there was a few months where we were all hit by the pandemic pretty hard, and we all felt like there couldn't be a better time for this song to come out, because when you watch that video, when you hear that song for those 2-3 minutes, you can really like forget about all the things that's happening around the world, or whatever that is pulling you down, whatever, anything and everything that could be pulling you down or weighing you down. You kind of forget about it because the video is so goofy and funny and enjoyable, right? And that's something that we thought of as well, when we released the song. We wanted people to just take a break, like just check out, like switch off from everything, and just give them a piece of work that they can enjoy lah, and ultimately feel better, in whatever ways,
Right. And the song is like strewn with, pop culture references,
yeah.
being like, that whole nod to the Rajinikanth dance
Yeah.
with King Kong, right? So tell us about that. What was the idea behind that?
That is something that I am so proud to share with you. You being somebody from Chennai, like you a South Indian, like you will understand what I mean
Yeah.
when I'm about to answer this question, right? From the beginning of my career, from day one of me, like of Young Raja, from day one of my rap career, even Zeke could testify for this. Zeke is also South Indian. He also speaks Tamil. Both of us have been cracking our heads, trying to see how we can showcase our culture, the Tamil culture, in a way where it is palatable for people overseas, people that don't even understand anything that we're saying in Tamil, but it's palatable for them, and they can kind of enjoy it and listen to it, and it's not too foreign or not too different for those people, right? Like, very easy to enjoy, very easy, very easy to digest type of framework. Like, so how do we do that? How do we mix Tamil and English in a way where it becomes palatable for the rest of the world, even people that don't understand Tamil, right? So it was more like an experimental project that we took on, and the first project was Puri Gang. Puri Gang being a remix of, at that time, the number one song in the world, Gucci Gang. We remixed it, and then, it goes like Soda Gang, Motor Gang, Nei Gang, Rasta Gang, Butter Gang, Laddu Gang, and the Gang, like all these things that we as Tamil speaking Indian people, like, we hold these words and we hold these terms so dearly to our hearts, but we wanted to see how people would feel if they didn't know what we were talking about. Like, would they be intrigued? Would they be intrigued to know what I was saying, or would it be easy for them to digest? So we were very interested to find out. So we put up Puri Gang first, and then it led to Mustafa. And Mustafa, there's a few Tamil words here and there. So from the beginning of my career, it has always been a question of how much of my culture and my life and the things that I love about my traditions and the things that I love about my Indian culture, how much of those things can I include into my songs at any given point in time?
Right.
So it has always been an exploration of that, a creative exploration of that, a cultural exploration of that. What things can I say in this record that a non-Tamil speaking, a non-Indian person, if they were to listen to it, would it make them question? Like, why did Young Raja say, now Oru Tadava Sona, there is 50 times 2? What is he saying that? What does that mean? Then if they read the lyrics and see what it means, or if they would ask me, then I can tell them, oh, Superstar Rajinikanth, he says, na Oru Tadava Sona, there's Oru Tadava Sona Mari, that which means if I say something once, it's like I said it 100 times. Like, I get to open up such conversations with my friends, conversations that I previously would never have an opportunity to have with my friends, So it's a little bit in depth. My answer is a little bit in depth. And the only reason why I'm saying it like this to you is because I know that you will understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
And the dance song is, I'm so happy, like my team and I are so happy about the dance song. From the time it was made all the way till now, the release, we've always been excited about this project because we took it to a new level. Like the references, the cultural references, the creative explorations, a lot higher than it was previously, and I'm so happy to share this with people.
Sure, sure. And we also hear that you're a big Rajnikanth fan, right?
Huge,
So,
huge.
yeah, I mean, who isn't?
Who isn't, right? Exactly.
So tell us about how he has influenced your music and your career, and also, what are some of the Indian voices that you listen to growing up?
Yeah. Indian voices I listen to, of course, I can't say anybody else's name without saying
Yeah.
A.R. Rahman sir's name first, man. Like I have only listened to two types of music. One is hip hop music. When I was about 13 years old, I discovered hip hop music. But predominantly my entire life, my entire uh, ear for music was just for South Indian, Collywood, those movie soundtracks and like whatever songs that South India puts out.
Yeah.
And plus the fact that my family is from Tanjavur and they moved here and then they had me, so they always listen to South Indian music as well. So A.R. Rahman being the number one most consumed artist in my family and in my life as well. Recently, it has been like since I started my career, I've definitely been listening to the guys like Sisri Ram, Hip Hop Tamila, like guys that are running the game right now. The guys that are, especially Sisri Ram, he's trying to bridge that. He's very much like me when it comes to bridging that cultural experience, right? He's trying to show the West about his Eastern influences and he's showing the East about his Western influences, and I find that very inspirational. But when it comes to Rajinikanth, to answer your question about Rajinikanth, he is somebody that I have consistently watched since I was maybe like 3 or 4 years old. The first movie that I kind of broke the cassette tape for was Arunachalam. Like I watched Arunachalam and Padayappa lah, but I watched Arunachalam so many times, right, until the cassette broke.
Okay.
And I watched Padayappa so many times until the cassette broke as well.
Okay.
And there was something about Rajinikanth's style and his way of like, oh, it feels so blasphemous to say Rajinikanth like that. I mean, Taleva, Superstar Rajinikanth Taleva, right? Like something about him that I've been naturally drawn to, just like all of us, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember being a kid and not eating my food, and like my mom would switch on a movie like Arunachalam or Basha or Parepa, and then I would eat my food. So at a time when I was like, well, 4 years old, at a time when I didn't even know anything about life, anything about the world, I was so drawn to it. Now, me being 25 years old now, like I'm looking back into my life and I think I have a better understanding to why I'm so drawn to him and why I feel so inclined to add elements of what I've seen Superstar Rajinikanth do in my music.
Yeah.
The style is so unique, like nobody can imitate. It's unimitable. The style is so widely receptive. You can be a child, you can be a 90-year-old person, you can be a complete tata party, you still enjoy, you know? And I've always been enamored by that. Like, how does one man appeal to an audience that wide?
Yeah.
Not through dialogues, not through the acting per se,
Yeah.
not through anything else besides the style.
Hmm.
So that was super moving for me. Like, how does a man capture an entire planet with his style? You know, like, so understanding and like kind of digging deeper into that and trying to understand how the symbol of style is Rajinikanth, right? He's a symbol, like he represents his style. And I've always been drawn to that. And I realized that nobody has like drawn inspirations from him and tried to inject Superstar Rajinikanth's flavor into Western culture,
Right.
especially Western music and especially Western hip hop.
Hmm.
So I just thought it would be interesting to kind of show people or tell people that my god, like the guy that inspired me the most is this guy called Superstar Rajinikanth, and like to share elements of that is I find great joy in that. So from day one I've always tried to see how I can incorporate little small little things that give a shout out to Superstar Rajinikanth. Even the scene that starts off the
Yeah.
music video, the idea was given by Zeke. Like he said we should find inspiration from the Aditya Privy scene where, you know, so it's like whenever we find an opportunity, we always manage to find something to add inside.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Also, you are considered to be, one of the leading voices of Southeast Asian rap, and especially in the Tamil rap scene, Tamil English
Mhm.
rap scene. So, what
Yeah.
does hip hop mean to you as a Tamil artist?
Hip hop means various things to me, but I would say that the biggest thing it it means to me, the biggest thing, like out of all the things that it means, the biggest thing would be the fact that it is a celebration and an embracing of yourself,
Right.
right? Meaning your truth, your identity, your culture, anything and everything that makes you who you are.
Mm.
Hip hop demands that out of you. Hip hop by nature demands authenticity, your genuine self, your truth. Hip hop fundamentally needs these things for it to exist. That is the framework of hip hop. And being a rapper, being a Tamil English artist, I was never a question whether should I just do full English or full Tamil. It was never that. It has to be a mix because that's who I am.
Yeah.
I speak in Tamil at home and I speak in English to my friends, and I had to show that in an authentic way. And rap has allowed me to express myself in the most honest and the most truthful way. Like the whole mixture of Tamil and English is me. That is me. When I talk to my parents, when I talk to my friends, I mix Tamil and English like that. And
Mm.
the fact that rap music and hip hop has given me that avenue to express my honest self in an honest way is something that I don't take lightly. It means a lot to me. Like,
Sure.
I'm so grateful that I found hip hop.
Mm.
Or I could say that I'm so grateful that hip hop found me, because now I feel free.
Yeah.
I feel free. I'm myself. Like, I don't feel like I'm anything besides myself, and that is a very powerful feeling. And I feel like I can use this feeling to lift and inspire and empower other people to do the same,
Sure.
to celebrate themselves, celebrate their culture, like show who you are, man. Talk about yourself, talk about your identity, talk about what makes you who you are. Don't hide it. Don't feel shy. Like, we want to know. People should know what makes you you. How beautiful your world is, how beautiful your culture is, how beautiful are the things that you saw growing up is.
Yeah.
I feel like people always appreciate the truth of somebody, and hip hop gave me that. So it means a lot. It means a lot to me. Yeah.
Right. And tell us how the pandemic has changed the entire music scene. because we see a lot of musicians, use this time to like come up with new
Yeah,
content every day.
yeah.
Tell us about that. Tell us how these past couple of months have been.
A very interesting question because the first half of the year was a pause button that nobody saw coming, right?
Yeah.
The life pre-COVID was very much traveling, meeting people, doing live shows, performing for 400 people, thousands of people, meeting fans up close, meet and greets. The scope of being a full-time artist was very much on the ground and people oriented. Now, after the first half of the year when all of us were trying to figure out how to move forward, now people have adjusted themselves to the new norm, right? And the new norm is totally not what pre-COVID was in context to being a full-time artist. It's totally not. Now, being a full-time artist is heavily reliant on social media, heavily reliant on Zoom calls. Interviews can no longer happen. Like, it's tough to happen face to face. So things have changed so much, like 180 degrees. There's a complete flip. But what is great about it is the pause button has given all of us the time and the space to reflect, reassess, and restructure. Like, speaking for myself, I can tell you that last 2 years was so crazy for me. Like, I started off as a rapper, and within a short period of time, a lot of people started to know my name and started to know me for what I do. Like, it was very fast, and I never had time to like properly understand where I'm going and how fast things are moving. Like, to give it an analogy, I never had time to stop and smell the flowers in the garden. I was just going. Okay, like, Zeke, okay, we gotta go to KL next. Okay, we go to KL 2-3 days, we come back, and after that, 3 days later, we gotta go to India. Like, it was just back and forth. But for me, this pandemic, the pandemic gave me a much needed pause button for me to really take a step back and take a look at my life and take a look at my career, take a look at myself, and understand things in an honest, sometimes even brutally honest way. And what this led to, this special time and place that brought much reflection and reassessing and restructuring, what this led to was spiritual, mental, physical, artistic growth. Right? It led to the kind of growth that no other experience can bring. In a weird way, the kind of growth that only a pandemic can bring. So I see that as a silver lining for the pandemic. And a lot of my artist friends feel the same way too. They feel like they've grown so much, they've learned so much about themselves, they've dug deeper, they've went in deeper, they have seen many positive changes in the way they approach their art. Because if you were to grow as a person, your art grows with you. The art and the person is not separate. Art and self is same, right? So if you were to like expand as a person, it directly affects and influences your art. And that's something that all my artist friends have gone through, and I have the pleasure to share this with you as well. The pandemic has been eye-opening.
Thank you so much again, Young Raja, for speaking to us
No
today. It was
worries.
such a lovely
No
conversation.
worries, Shruti. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for wanting to speak to me and my team. Like, it's always a thrill and an exciting thing to know that Chennai or any part of South India or any part of India is
Yeah.
they want to talk to you, me, or whatever. They want to like interview or shows or whatever. I always get super excited because it's like, it's motherland for me, and it means something very special to me, and I want to thank you and your team for wanting to set this up. Thank you so much.